In DPCH concept, DPCH is nothing but DHCP concept, dynamic host configuration protocol. Okay, what is this dynamic host configuration protocol? In the previous topics, I think you may have come across, like suppose if you consider an organization, or if you consider one particular local area network, where a block of addresses are assigned to an organization. Is it correct? Block of address, like there may be different routers or different switches, where for each switches or routers we are supposed to give the address. So that is nothing but block of addresses are assigned to an organization. The net what How we can assign it? Now it is a role of an admin to assign the address to each point, right? To each switches we are supposed to assign the address. So how that addressing can be assigned? So one is can be manually assigning. If there are say 10 numbers of points or switches, you're supposed to manually enter the address and then assign it, right? But as the size of the organization grows on, as the number of switches or the point for the connectivity grows on, or the manual configuration will be very difficult, right? So in order to avoid it, this DHCP configuration or protocol, a dynamic host configuration protocol, has been introduced. Okay, where in this particular section, address assignment in an organization can be done automatically using this DHCP concept. Okay, assigning is done, or the manual assignment is not required in this case. How is that? We will go through it. Like it is like a client server request. Client, basically the basic idea is like initially if some clients want to process or it wants to browse something, the client has to be converted to connected to the server, right? So basically this client will be sending a request to the server. Upon receiving an acknowledgement or the reply back, uh, the connection will be established. So dynamically, whenever the host comes to that particular organization or particular area of network, the configuration will take place. There is no need to manually set one particular address to a host. Okay, as and when the host is detected, when it sends a request, dynamically the address will be assigned. So this is the basic idea of DHCP configuration protocol. DHCP is an application layer program. Okay, using the client server parallelogram that actually helps TCP/IP at the network layer. Basically, it supports TCP/IP as well as UDP at the network layer. So before going to the concept of this uh, DHCP message format, first we need to go through the message format of DHCP. If you just check the block diagram, the overall message format of DHCP is given here, right? Overall message format, I think already have come across all this point. Here we are interested in this option. We'll discuss this option later. Say there are different types of messages here. Fields, what we call fields over here, right? The first field we can observe, first it is nothing but an opcode. Opcode in the sense either it can send a request, in the sense DHCP client, it can send a request or it can reply it. Okay, so it has to be decided. So that information will be given here in the opcode. Next, say from 16 to 8-bit, this is nothing but a hardware type. Okay, each hardware, say for example Ethernet or Wi-Fi, each hardware will have its own ID number, and that will be placed here. Hardware type will be placed here. Next, length of the hardware address. Okay, each hardware will have its own address. That length will be placed here, and the maximum H count is nothing but hop count. Okay, it is nothing but the maximum number of hops the packet can travel. In the last class we have seen, suppose a packet has to transfer from one particular switch to the other switch, or one switch to the other host. It has to select a path, right? So how many hops or maximum number of hops that particular packet can travel, that will also be specified. That many, that at that till that point it can travel. After that it will be deteriorated. Okay, so that information will also be in this particular format, DHCP format, message format. Next one is nothing but transaction ID. Transaction ID is nothing but an integer which is set by the client, okay, and repeated by the server. initially at the initial stage, it will be like a random number. When say, as I told, it is like a client server process. Client initially sends, whenever the connection is required, it sends a message, request message from the client to the server will be sent. So during that process, one transaction ID will be developed, a random number, an integer will be developed. So it is nothing but it keeps a track. Okay, the same ID, once that messages reaches the server has to reply it. It will be replying to the same ID so that it comes to the required host itself. Okay. Next one is time elapsed. Time elapsed is number of seconds since the client started to boot. Say for example, now when the client wants to have a connection with the server. Okay, it's initially it sends a request. Based on the request, again the server will acknowledge, right? It will acknowledge. After the acknowledgement, what happens over there is a minimum time will be basically set. Okay, time for the transfer or transferring the packets or for the connection, it will be set. So that time has to be taken care. Time elapsed. Time elapsed is nothing but the number of seconds since the client has started to boot. The connection has been started. So once it reaches that the maximum time limit, what happens? Either again we need to send a request, or the server itself, sometimes it will renew that. Okay, we will study that all that in the next coming slides. Next is nothing but the flags. Okay, in the flag it will define which type of communication, whether it is a unicast communication, whether it is a multi-class or something. Here basically the last bit is used. Suppose if the last bit is 0, it means that in the flag the last bit is 0, it means that it is an unicast. Unicast in the sense from point to point communication, right? If it is 1, it means that it is multi-class. Multi-class in the sense from one point to multiple destination. Okay, that is about the flag. Next is client IP address. Next information will be like it, client IP address. If it is unknown, initially it will be set to 0 if the client doesn't know it. Okay, if it doesn't know its IP address, initially it will be set to 0, 0, or that 0 itself will be transferred. Then as and then it will be studied and the client IP address will be placed over there. Okay, next is your IP address, the client IP address sent by the server. Now initially, as I told you, so client will send a message to the server. Server will detect the IP address of the client, and that IP address will be placed in the your IP address, because initially client doesn't know its IP address. A message will be sent to the server. Okay, server will come to know the IP address of that client, will have that information. Now what it will do is it will reply. Along with the reply, it will send an IP address, that is nothing but your IP address, which is nothing but the client IP address itself. Okay, next one is server IP address. As the request is given to the server, it will broadcast the IP address if the client doesn't know it. Okay, if the client doesn't know the server, based on the reply to the message from the client, it will broadcast its IP address. Okay, next it is gateway IP address, the address of the default router. Okay, from which router this communication takes place, that address will be loaded to the gateway IP address. Next, client hardware address, server name, all that will be added. Boot file name, everything will be added. Boot file name, server name is nothing but a 64-byte domain name of the server, as well as boot file name. It contains extra information like what is that router, from which address, all that information will be there. Next is nothing but options. Option, it is again a 64-byte field with a dual purpose function. Okay, so what is that option? Right now in this DHCP format, this plays a very important role. The option, basically it is of 64 bytes. Okay, you can observe here the entire option. This is nothing but the continuation of the previous. The last field I have taken out, 64-byte field. Okay, option format is DCP option format. It is again divided into 3 sections. One is tag. Okay, 1 byte of tag. Next is length. It is also 1 byte, and this value, it is variable length. Okay, tag, length, and value. These are the 3 fields in the option. So what information does it give? Okay, tag, it gives the information based on the number present over here. Okay, say that if the tag value is 53, different values provides you a different function. Basically, this is say 53 basic. It means that if the stack number is 53, then it can have these three different values, eight different values. Okay, if it is tag is 53, then this value, if the number present in the value can vary from 1 to 8. If it is 1, if the value present here it is 1, it means that it is DHCP discover. Okay, it is the standard. It is nothing but a message format. As I told you, there are different, like it is client server process. Client basically sends a request to the server. So in order to send a request, it has to detect the server, discover the server. Next, an offer should be given by the server to the client. All that process is there. We'll see that later. So these are the different functions. Okay, step by step functions. So this has to be this functions will be stored in the field value. Okay, if tag is 53 and if value is 1, it means that message is pointing to DHCP discover. Okay, what is the discover? I'll discuss it in next PPT. If this value is 2, it indicates that it is pointing to DHCP offer. If the value is 3, it indicates that it is pointing to DHCP request. Like that, there are 8 different functions: DHCP decline, DHCP pack, sorry, ACK acknowledgement, DHCP negative acknowledgement. 7, it is nothing but DHCP release. 8, it is DHCP inform. So basically it means that in this particular field, in the last field, that is option field, a field will be divided into 3 sections: tag, length and value. Okay, tag, it gives the information of different functions. It is like it is nothing but a set of number. For each number there will be certain function. For 53 is the basic set number. Under that particular field, under that particular tag, there are 8 different functions, okay, which is involved in establishing the communication or establishing the connection from the source, in the sense from this client to the server. Okay, so what is that? We will see DHCP operation. If you understand this, the previous all that concept will be clear to you. DHCP operation. If you can observe, initially this is a client server, right? Is a client and a server. Initially, all these there will be no connection at all. Okay, at the initial stage there will be no connection at all. Now, if you observe it, so just check this point, client. Now I want to connect this particular client to a server. In the sense, client requires a service. It has to connect to an internet. So in order to communicate, in order to connect it to an internet, say this is one organization. Just assume this has one organization. Okay, this is the server of the organization. Now client has to communicate to the internet. In order to do that, there should be a connection established from this client to the server. So in order to establish a communication, DHCP concept is used. DHCP is nothing but dynamically an address will be assigned to this particular client. The server will assign an address to the client, and after that the connection will be established and then the communication will take place. That is the basic principle. Now how this will be achieved? Okay, how this can be achieved? This can be achieved, say first one, initially you can observe here, client will not know even its IP address. Okay, so the first step is nothing but DHCP discover. Okay, as I told you, see in the previous slide we have seen 53 under the different functions are there. In that first function, DHCP discover the nearest server, the best server to that particular client. Okay, say server, there may be different servers in that particular organization, or nearby to that client there may be different servers. So we need to select, it has to select the best one, right? So initially client doesn't know the address. So first one, DHCP discover will take place. In DHCP discover, this is nothing but the fields which the client will send. Initially client itself will send a request to the server. Okay, it will send the request to the server. So basically what these are the fields. First one is transaction ID. What is this transaction ID? As I told you in the field itself, transaction ID is nothing but a random number. It is an integer. It is a random number for that particular request. Okay, no other field can be set because the host has no knowledge with which what to do. So right, it doesn't have any knowledge. Only the transaction ID initially it will be generated. It doesn't know what is the lease time, what is the client address, your address. This is nothing but different fields of DHCP, right? We have discussed it. Server address, only the port, source port as well as the destination port, it will be added. It will be added at this particular point, as well as source address. There is nothing but client address is unknown, so initially it is 0, right? as well as destination address is all 255. 255, all values are 255 in this input. It is nothing but a broadcast. It will be sent to all the servers. That's all. So because it doesn't know exactly where it belongs to, it doesn't know the server address, so it is 255. So this particular request will be sent to all. It will be broadcasted, right? So this is the first step. Is it clear? This is the first step. This is nothing but here this message is encapsulated in a UDP user datagram, what we have discussed now, with the source port. Source port is set to 68 and the destination port to 67. Why is that 68, 67? We will discuss it later. Okay, and this one why 00? Because I don't know the source initial address. So initially it will be set to 00 and destination address is also not known. So we will set all to 255, which indicates that we are going to broadcast the message, right? So this is first step. So once this particular request, this will be reached to the server. Okay, it reaches to the different server. If various servers are there, it will be reaching to different servers. We'll consider a single server over here where the IP address of the server is 181.14.16.170. Okay, upon receiving this request, now the server has to reply it. Okay, server has to reply the client. So that is nothing but DHCP offer. The particular client may get different offers. If you have various servers over there, you will get different offers to the client, right? Out of which the client has to select the best one. So in DHCP offer, you can observe here the fields present in the DHCP offer. First one is transaction ID. The same transaction ID what the client has been generated, right? It has to be same. Okay. Next, the lease time. You can observe here next very important point. It is nothing but the lease time. Lease time is nothing but it is the time for which the host can keep the IP address, the maximum time at which the host can keep the IP address. Okay, IP address will be given by the server, right? This is what I'm telling. We are dealing with IP address. It is dynamically allotted. So one IP address during this process, an IP address will be assigned to the client. Okay, so what is the maximum time interval that IP address can be assigned? It will be mentioned here. That is nothing but the lease time. In this case, 3600. Next, client address, which will be used, which it should be placed by the client itself. So basically, this is empty. Your address in the sense. Now the server will identify the address for this client. Okay, and it will assign the address. This is what a dynamically assignment of the address. Server will assign an address, so it is known as your address. That is say 181.14.16.182. Out of different server will have a list of different addresses which are available. Dynamically, it will assign one address to that particular client. Okay, so that is nothing but your address. Next, the server address. It is nothing but the server IP address 181.14.16.170. Same thing. Okay, source port and destination port as it is, but interchanged. Okay, now the source port here, it is the server port, that is 67. Destination port, it is nothing but the client, which is 68. So it has to be interchanged. Next, source address. Source address is also the source address is nothing but for this at this juncture, it is the server address itself from where you are transmitting the data. That is 181.141.16.170, right? Next, it is the destination address. Destination address again, it is not known, so just broadcast the message to all 255. In this sense, the message will be broadcasted based on the transaction ID. Required client will pick it up. Now 1001 is the transaction, so this will match. So this client itself will pick that particular message. So that is broadcast. I hope you have understood. First is DHCP discover, right? Next is based on the message received, your server will reply. That is nothing but DHCP offer. Okay, during this an IP address will be assigned to each client and it will be transferred. Okay, upon receiving this offer, now the client may receive different offers from various servers, right? One important factor under this particular offer is nothing but your lease time or the maximum time to which this particular connection can be established, IP address can be given, right? So based on the this criteria, now a client may receive different offers. It has to pick the best offer. Okay, it has to pick the best offer. Upon picking the best offer, your DHCP will send a request for the connection. Okay, first is discover. After that, based on discover, you'll get an offer. For that offer, again a reply will be given. That is nothing but DHCP request for the connection to be established. Okay, So in this DHCP request, the fields you can observe, transaction will be ID will be as it is, that is 1001. Next, lease time, what we have received from the best offer, that is 3600. Next, the client address. Now the client will have the address, that is nothing but what IP address has been assigned by the server. The same address will be the client address, which is nothing but you can observe here, your address was 181.14.16.182. Same address, that is 181.14.16.182. That will be the client address. So your address is vacant, not required. Next, server address is the same address, that is 181.14.16.170. That is the server IP address. Source port is again it will change, that is in the sense rearranged. Source address is 68, that is the client address. Port number, destination port is 67, right? Next, the source address is nothing but the client address itself, from where this message has to transfer. That is nothing but the client address, 181.141 16.182. This should be 14, okay, not 141. This is 181.14.16.182. Okay, destination address is nothing but again just broadcast the message, so it will be all 255. Upon receiving this DPH request, now it means that a client wants a connection. When this request is going to server, it means that client requires a connection from this particular server, right? That is 181.14.16.170. Okay, so for that request, an acknowledgement will be given. That is nothing but ACK will be given. Or else if NACK is given, it means that connection is not possible. Upon ACK, right, the server will again acknowledge the request. So under this DHCP ACK, you'll have same transaction ID will be there, lease ID, lease time will be there, client address is nothing but your address, what the address server has assigned, 181.14.16.182. Next it is nothing but the server address, server IP address. Next it is source 67. The destination is not required now, already it has been set. Next is the source address is nothing but the server address, and destination address is nothing but the broadcast message. Okay, so upon receiving this acknowledgement only, the connection will be established. Okay, once the connection is established, next all that browsing, everything will take place. Okay, this is how dynamically the server will assign an address to the client based on the request given by the client. This is the process. Okay, basically client will discover the server, it sends the required field based on the discover. The client server, there may be different servers in general. It will send an offer to the client. In that offer, various information will be there. Based on that, the client will receive the best offer, and again it sends a request for the communication, for the establishment of connection. So in acknowledgement to that, the server will send the DHCP acknowledgement. Once acknowledgement is received, then the connection the connection between client and the server will be established. Okay, this is the overall process involved. Okay. So using FTP, that is DHCP operation, the server does not send all the information that a client may need for joining the network. In DHCP message, the server defines the path name of a file in which the client can find the complete information such as address or the DNS server, everything. That is nothing but basically at the discover as request, all the information of the server will not be sent. Only at the acknowledgement stage itself, the information of the server will be sent to the client. Okay, so error control, it uses the service of UDP itself to provide error control. DHCP uses two strategies. First one, it requires UDP which uses checksum. Okay, the second one, DHCP client uses timers and the retransmission policy if it doesn't receive the DHCP reply to a request. Okay, first it is using UDP checksum bit, and second one for the timers. Timers in the sense, again, whenever the request is sent by a client, a timer will be like turned on. If the reply is not received within that time, again retransmission will take place. That is nothing but the different two types of steps involved in DHCP operation. So this is a basic FSM, final state machine, for the DHCP client. Okay, in order to achieve the communication between the server and the client, one small FSM is given. You can observe here. Initially, suppose say if you want to establish a communication connection from source, that is client, to the server, it goes to the that is nothing but initialization state. Okay, the first state. At the initialization state, as you know, if you just imagine the previous block diagram, the first step is DHCP discover, right? It's a request will be sent by the client to the server. So that is nothing but this one, DHCP discover. Okay, DHCP discover, it goes to the, and under this particular message, request message, the state changes from the initialization state to the selecting state. Selecting state in the sense, the client enters the selecting states now. It will wait for the best offer, right? You can observe here, DHCP offer. It will remain in the selecting state. That is nothing but once it receives the DHCP offer, it enters the selecting state. Offer from where? Offer from the client, right? Based on the request, the client will send different offers to the server will send, sorry, the server will send the different offers to the client, right? Once it receives that offer, the server will decide the best offer and then goes for the next stage, right? So the next stage is nothing but the requesting stage. Once offer is received, it picks the best offer, and for that offer, a request will be given by the client to the server, right? That is nothing but DHCP request, right? DHCP request will be given from the client to the server. At this point, the state, again the state changes, that is from selecting state to the requesting state. Now, the based on the offer received by the server, client will send a request. For that request, the server has to send an acknowledgement, right? So now this is in the requesting, the client is in the requesting state. Is it correct? Now, after receiving the acknowledgement, there may be two types of acknowledgement. Either DHCP acknowledgement, or it can receive DHCP N acknowledgement, that is negative acknowledgement. If it reaches N acknowledgement, then again it enters the initialization state. The client will enter the initialization state. If it receives acknowledgement, then what happens? It goes to the bounding state. Bounding state in the sense, a connection will be established and it enters the bounding state. Is it correct? Now in the bounding state, in that we have seen, right, a least time, in the sense the time interval is given from, there is nothing but the time interval through which the connection, maximum time interval through which that IP address will be given to that particular client. So that is bounding state. So here this time should be taken care. Now suppose say that you can observe here, least time 50% has expired out of whatever time has been specified. If 50% time has been expired, then this enters, DHCP enters the request state. Okay, it requests for the renewal of the time. That is nothing but the renewal of the leasing line. So if it is renewed, an acknowledgement will be sent by again by the server, and again it enters the bounding state. If it is not renewed, then it enters, suppose say if the lease time is 85 something, 87% expired, already 87% of the lease time is done, and if renewing is not possible, if the acknowledgement is not received for the renewing, it enters the rebinding state. In rebinding state, again it will wait for the renewing. If an acknowledgement is achieved by the rebinding, again it enters the bounding state. If not, it means that we have crossed that particular lease time, it enters to the initialization state, right? This is the overall FSM for the DHCP client. Is that clear? This is about the concept of DHCP, the basic concept of DHCP.